All right. Unbelievable day in Washington. Unbelievable day in America. We have basically a coup happening right now. The Defense Department being involved does make it almost literally a coup attempt here. I'm going to explain all that in a second. But the vice president is in hiding from his own president's supporters. This is the absolute height of insanity. We're going to have all the pictures and the video for you guys live on the show tonight. You guys know every day, Monday through Friday, 5:30, we have the interviews, and the 6 to 8 o'clock is the main show. We've got all the elements there for you guys to see because it's amazing. The house has been barricaded. Guns are drawn. ABC News reporting that shots have been fired inside the Capitol. There's video of a woman being carried out covered in blood. The protests have gotten violent, very violent. This is amazing. Donald Trump has turned America into a banana republic. He said he was going to make it great. He's brought us from first to worst in so many categories. We're the worst in coronavirus cases and deaths. Now we've got a literal coup attempt happening inside the Capitol. This is the kind of damage to America's reputation that is irreversible. So right now, guys, the whole world is talking about, have they done a coup in America? It's unbelievable. They're swarming inside the Capitol. The right wing is right now. By the way, guys, yes, and then there's more for members at the end of every day. So I just noticed Christian Durlich joining by hitting that join button below. That makes all the difference. We're trying to get you as much news as we can throughout the day. Anna did a live. I'm doing a live. And obviously the main show's coming up at 6 o'clock where we're going to have all of the videos and pictures for you because it's stunning. Rudy Giuliani goes out there and says, we're going to do trial by combat in the middle of this insanity. And then those protesters that showed up took him at his word. They're like, all right, let's do combat. So the police, totally unprepared. The right wing said they were coming. They threatened violence. I mean, there's a picture of just folks in military get-ups, walls and walls of security in the Capitol, in the same place for a Black Lives Matter protest. Now they just let the right wing walk right into the Capitol, and they've got military fatigues on. And they're not military, but they got their fatigues on. The House door has been barricaded. Guns have been drawn. We'll show you the pictures. We'll show you the video. This is absolute madness. And Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley were in the middle of encouraging this kind of anger and reaction when they had to be escorted out of the building or inside the building. It's unclear where the senators are hiding. It's unclear where the vice president has been taken. The vice president said at the beginning of the day, I will do my constitutional duty and no more. I have no constitutional authority to overturn the election, which is the most obvious thing in the world. No one in the right wing has ever read the Constitution. They don't know anything about the Constitution. In fact, the right wing in this country hates the Constitution. They hate this country. They hate our democracy. Look at what they're doing now. They're trying to overturn the results of a democratically conducted and approved and certified election. Every court, including Trump appointees, including judges that are all Republicans in some of the courts, said, you have no evidence. You're lying. It's not true that there was any fraud in the election. And the right-wing militia, zealot protesters, and honestly, most of the Republican voters are like, no, I don't care. I don't care. I just want power. I don't like democracy. I don't like America. And remember, these are the same guys that conservatives in this country that declared civil war against America because they didn't like the idea of democracy. They didn't like the idea of equality. They didn't like the idea of justice. Those are all literal. They said, I don't want equality for Black people. I want them to be my slaves forever. I don't want to do my own work. I'm a bum, is what the Confederates said. And I want to oppress people for the rest of my life because I don't believe in America. That's why they declared war against America. And right now, in essence, they're doing the same exact thing. In fact, now they've got Confederate flags inside the Capitol. They've raided the Capitol. Shots are fired. They're going in there with Confederate flags. They couldn't do this during the Civil War over 150 years ago. But congratulations, right wing in America, you did it. You got a Confederate flag with violent militia, right wing militia inside America's capital. You've been trying to do it for over 150 years to topple America and our democracy because you cared more about your power. You cared more about oppressing other people. You cared more about being vicious to people that don't look like you than you ever cared about justice or equality. You hate the idea of equality, and hence you hate the idea of America. These are absolute facts. We still, by the way, have people like Chuck Todd coddling them on television. Yes, most of the anchors are outraged. How could you not be outraged? They're apparently killing people inside the Capitol. So look, there's fog of war here, and it's almost literal war inside the Capitol here. So we'll find out in 24 hours when the dust is cleared, the smoke is cleared, the gunshots have cleared, what exactly happened here. But for now, legitimate news sources, and you can see the blood on tape. We don't know if the woman was shot that's covered in blood. We don't know how she got covered in blood. That's the fog of war. We'll have more clear details as we go forward. But there's no question the building is breached. They're going around trying to find senators. I don't know if it's mainly Democratic senators or they want to attack Republican senators. Remember, they tried to attack Mitt Romney, or they accosted him, to be fair and accurate, accosted him at the airport just yesterday. And there's a report that Romney is yelling at the Republican senators, look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. I don't know if they're in an undisclosed location being hidden somewhere inside the Capitol as Romney is yelling at these other Republican senators. But yeah, this is what a coup looks like. This is what civil war looks like. This is what a banana republic looks like. Donald Trump first to worst in every category. He never believed in this country. And I guarantee you do a poll now, most Republican voters will look at him and go, oh, violence. Ooh, we're taking down democracy so we can stay in charge and we can oppress other people. They're going to love it. So, yes, though, will it do political damage? No question. Because not even as crazed as Republican voters are today in this country, and they are absolutely crazed. They never rejected Donald Trump. They loved him from day one. The minute they saw how hateful he was and how much he hated immigrants and Muslims and blacks and other people and women, they were like, yes, exactly the kind of fascist guy we want. A strong man that doesn't believe in democracy, that doesn't believe in equality and justice. They were here for it. That's the Republican voters. No one on TV will have the courage to say that. So, guys, when I encourage you guys to join up and all that things, and I tell you we do the show together and we're going to bring change together, this is what I'm talking about. You've got to have the courage to talk about the core of the problem. The core of the problem isn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump is one out of 330 million people in this country. The core of the problem is that over 70 million Republicans chose him, said, that lunatic is our guy. We love that guy. And then he did 4 years of absolute lunacy. And then we're like, we're here for it. In this election just a couple of months ago, he got 93% of Republicans to vote for him. So all that talk of, oh, Republicans are going to peel away. No. But look, now no one can not see this. This is not, I tell you guys, a lot of times you'd be shocked at what folks don't know. You care about the news, you care about politics, but a lot of people in this country don't know, don't care, and they don't see it. But this, everyone saw. If this doesn't cost Republicans 10 to 15% of their base, but nothing will. Nothing will. That means the Republicans are that's if they don't lose any supporters out of this, that means they've just planted their flag. We are the fascist party, and we're proud of it. We don't believe in democracy. We don't believe in the Constitution. We don't care what the Constitution says about what the vice president can do. If the vice president doesn't do it, let's go try to kill him. I mean, the vice president is Trump's vice president. The Secret Service had to take him away. They were legitimately afraid for his life from his own party supporters. So, I mean, as I do this video, folks are in hiding. There's guns drawn inside the Capitol. And I got to say two more things about the disparate reaction to the right wing and the assumptions in this country. Pelosi's office, on the first day when AOC won, she went and did a protest. The protest was peaceful and political, and it got some of its goals, including a subcommittee. Now, that's how we do things in a democracy. That's how we do things in a peaceful way. That's how we do things in a political way, an American way. The right wing come inside the building, shots fired. Everybody in hiding. They're not. There's a guy banging on what he thinks is Mitch McConnell's window. He's on the scaffold. Okay, and they're looking for McConnell. They're inside people's. Now the offices are evacuated. I saw a picture from a right wing outlet where they're inside the office reading the emails of the Congress people. This is total insanity. You see the difference between the left wing and the right wing? They say all this stuff about, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, they're so violent. Where? What? Every time you see a protest, you see the cops viciously beating down left-wing protesters. In this case, you have violent right-wing protesters. There's no question about it. The cops let them walk right in the building. Imagine if it was Black Lives Matter or Antifa. They would have been crushed with overwhelming force. It's the right wing. They're like, oh, yeah, so go ahead. Who would you like to murder? We've got Republicans, we've got Democrats, we've got senators, we've got congressmen. Oh, the vice president has betrayed you by reading the Constitution, by protecting democracy. So you want to find him? Come right in. Come right in. There's barely any cops. And oh, my God, you're right-wingers. We can't touch you. Oh, my God, pepper sprays, water cannons, batons upside your head. No, you're not left-wing. You're right-wing. You run this country. If you want, cause all the violence you want. The reaction here by the authorities has been awful, horrific. And so if ever there was a time to be concerned about violent protesters, it is now. When did you not get the memo that the right-wing protesters are violent? How about when the militia had an actual plot that the FBI broke up to kidnap and murder the governor of Michigan? And afterwards, Trump and all of his cronies encouraged more militia activity against the governor of Michigan. He's been encouraging violence from day one. And so if you don't realize that storming a building with violence because you lost an election, and everyone that has looked at the facts says, including every Republican appointed judge, every Trump appointed judge that has looked at it and said, you are wrong. You are wrong. You have no facts on your side. You have no evidence on your side. They go, I don't care. I just want raw violence and power. That is the fascist party. That is the Republican Party today. So don't give any credit to Mitch McConnell, who encouraged them all the way. By the way, don't give credit to Pence either. Oh, on the last day, you decided not to be involved in a violent coup against the American government. Congratulations for clearing the very, very lowest bar in American history. So if the Republicans now go to war against each other, and guys, you have to understand why McConnell and other Republicans will be furious at Trump and Cruz. They're inside the club. There's a right way to be inside the club, the way AOC and Justice Democrats and Sunrise Movement did it. And I want people inside the Capitol. I hate those the folks who are elitist, in my opinion, who say that, oh, this shouldn't be the people's house. No, it is the people's house. But you do not come with guns. You don't come with violence. You don't break the door down. I mean, they complained that oh, my God, in St. Louis, remember those guys who drew the guns in front of their mansion? They said, oh, my God, they broke a gate, maybe later, but it's not absolutely clear at some point, right? Here, they're breaking down the door of the Capitol. Then they were trying to break down the door of the House. That's when they put up the barricades and the police drew their guns. And the right wing's like, yeah, we're here for it. Violence. Love it, love it, love it. That's what the right wing's about, okay? And so the disparity in how the left wing and the right wing are treated in this country is insane. It's insane. It's unconscionable. There's this assumption built into the back of almost everyone's minds in power, in media, and yes, with the cops. The right wing own this country. And they're allowed to oppress to anyone else. They're allowed to do violence against everyone else. They're allowed to do violence against America. And we'll barely touch them. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome into the Capitol, right? But if the left wing actually say, hey, could we change the government a little bit so you're not killing us as much? How dare you? Beat them over the head. Beat them over the head. That's what Trump encouraged. That's what all of the Republicans encouraged. So now they're reaping what they have sown. I hope to God no one gets hurt, not Republicans, not Democrats, not anyone. And cops, you love violence normally. This is the time you're actually supposed to do your job. And you're supposed to actually prevent their violence by, yes, having to use some force here. All of a sudden, my baton, my pepper spray, my gun. I don't know where I left it. It's white people. It's right wingers. I don't know where I left my gun. I don't know where I left my baton. I don't know. I mean, if you tell me about Antifa, I hear it, Antifa, I'm going to go crack their goddamn skulls. Yeah, okay, now we see you. We see you very clearly. Cops, we see you clearly. Republican Party, we see you clearly. People in power, we see you clearly. And if you can't see that Trump clearly now hates America and doesn't believe in democracy and believes in violence, you're never going to see it. So you know what it's on social media. Now, last thing, two things that they hang out to. And all of you guys using Super Chat and joining right now by hitting the join button below on YouTube. We love you guys. I'm so proud to do this show with you guys. Look, when we get past this coup attempt, and I got to tell you something about the Defense Department too. Once we get past this coup attempt, it's a great day in America once we get past it, because the Democrats do have the Senate. I can guarantee you they're not going to try to do anything with it. They're going to say, oh, Joe Manchin, Mitch McConnell, there was nothing we can do. Then progressives are going to enter the building in a peaceful and political way and demand change. See, that's how you're supposed to do it in America, because we believe in this country, unlike the right wing who have never believed in this country. I'm writing a whole book about it right now. It's called Justice is Coming. You can pre-order it at justicescomingbook.com. I've got a whole chapter on these traitors, these right-wingers who've never believed in this country. Never, ever, ever throughout the entire history of this country, the right wing has been opposed to the idea of equality and justice. It's a fact. It's an indisputable fact, no matter how much the mainstream media whitewashes right-wingers and conservatives in this country. Oh, it's a center-right country. Nonsense. It is not at all a center-right country. That's why they lost in a democracy. That's why they're now saying we can't win national elections, so we've got to do it by force, what we could not do in a democracy. All right, to the Defense Department. Apparently, there's a call for the National Guard to back up the cops because they're overwhelmed. And the Defense Department, according to the latest report here, let me read it to you guys, if I can pull it up here. Real quick, Aaron C. Davis reporting, a source tells me the Defense Department has just denied a request by D.C. officials to deploy the National Guard to the U.S. Capitol. Why is the Defense Department denying a request, the most legitimate request for the National Guard I have literally ever seen in my lifetime? Why are they denying that request? Unless they're in favor of the coup. I don't know how this ends today, but I know they have to restore order. This is the anarchy that Trump loves. It's the chaos that he's always been in favor of. He has never liked law and order. He said it to you 1,000 times. He said maybe it should be illegal to work with law enforcement. He literally said that. He said, oh, these guys that are turning evidence against criminals, maybe it should be illegal to talk to the cops. So that's who Donald Trump is. So he loves the chaos and the violence that's happening now. He probably views it as, oh yeah, well, that's so helpful. Look at this. Look at how much people like me. They're willing to kill my own vice president and maybe senators of my own party because of how much they like me. I guarantee you it's an ego trip for him, and he's loving it. So they'll do their weak-ass excuses. That's what I was going to get to in the social media. Oh, Trump put out a tweet, like several hours into the violence of like, oh, I guess you should respect cops. It was like a 1 to 2 line tweet. I'm not even sure that it came from him. There was no misspellings. So it was a very normal tweet. It's possible that they commandeered the president's Twitter account so that he doesn't continue to cause violence. And it appears belatedly that he tweaks the violence that's happening. Like, oh, as you're killing people, by the way. People in blue, they're good guys, right? Kind of. I mean, kind of, right? So they're going to fall back on that. The second thing that they're falling back on social media is, Antifa kind of did it in Portland, kind of, not really, but kind of but we said they did it. So we're just doing it way, way, way worse because Antifa started it. That's not a thing. Antifa didn't start it. You're just looking for an excuse for violence. It's you. You're the un-American people who hate this country, who hate democracy, who are trying to steal this election and now doing it with violence. That's who the right wing is. No one, look, mainstream media can say whatever they want. Those Republicans come out, pretend later they're against it. Politically, they're going to be furious at each other because they broke the code of the club and they put the lives of the senators and the congressmen in danger. And the McConnells of the world are going to be furious about that. There's going to be a huge fight within the Republican Party. Like I explained earlier, I don't know what happens with the Republican voters, but with independents and some faction, it's got to hurt them in some big way. If it doesn't, they're declaring themselves pro-fascism and no ands, ifs, or buts about it. It's all of that is going to go down. But the bottom line is they started all of this. They encouraged all of this, and Mitch McConnell and all of them, including Cruz and Hawley and Mo Brooks and all those guys and Louis Gohmert and Matt Gaetz, all of them encouraged it all the way up to today. Today, they were in the middle of speeches encouraging people to be super angry and do something to steal this election. And then, of course, because they're Goebbels like propaganda, they turned them stealing in the election to a hashtag of stop the steal. Are you insane? You're the one trying to steal it. And you, by the way, there's a hashtag of stop the squeal. But I mean, those are fun times. And, when we talked about Trump's art of the squeal, but this isn't fun anymore. People are getting hurt. And look, honestly, making fun of Trump is fun, but the rest of it was never, ever, ever fun. The fact that we have a giant contingent in this country who don't believe in democracy and who believe violence is the answer has always been a disaster. And we've told you this 1,000 times on the Young Turks. It was a brewing disaster waiting to happen. And here it is. It's happening today. All right, you have got to watch the main show. It's coming up in a little bit. Interviews are at 5:30. The main show is at 6 o'clock. They've got all the video, the pictures, everything for you guys. And then the last part of the main show, of course, is just for members. That's why we tell you to hit the join button below if you're watching on YouTube, tyt.com/join anywhere else. And make sure you're getting all the news today. And thank you for supporting us through this so we can get you more of the live coverage. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a little bit to give you so many more details about this. Thank you guys for watching. All right, we'll be back, and stay strong, everybody. And if you're in D.C., the curfew starts at 6 o'clock Eastern. Do not go out. There are literal lunatics, like zombies that's not literal. The lunatic is literal. Zombie, obviously not literal, but the zombies are all around Washington looking for a fight, looking for violence, unguided rage, and God knows what they will do if they see someone that they think is a progressive or a liberal or a Democrat. If they see someone that is not of their race, I don't know what kind of violent reaction they're going to have. When the curfew starts, if the right wing is still out there with their violence and the cops do not subdue them, it will be unconscionable. And there should be massive consequences for law enforcement if they refuse to do their job when they are most needed. Young Turks.